This is the Bolder Than Most podcast, where we talk with those making bold moves in business, real estate, and life. I'm your host, Trae Jacobs. Thank you for being here. Let's jump right in. All right. Welcome back to the Bolder Than Most podcast. I am joined today by Jordan. Jordan, what's your last name?
Hegemann.
All right, Hegemann. Okay. Where's that from? Where are your people's from?
My husband's very German.
German.
So actually it's like Hegemann or something like that, but we don't say it like that.
You gotta say it mad aggressive because that's just how they do over there. Hegemann.
Yeah, we don't say it like that.
No.
You don't have to yell at me.
Okay, all right. Let's go. Reel it in. Jordan is a coach with the Multifamily Mindset. She was actually my coach at the Multifamily Mindset, and I'm sorry for all the other students listening, but I was her favorite. So, Jordan,
I didn't say it.
Thank you so much for hopping on. How you doing? How you been?
Good. Just, out here living life, making the most of every opportunity.
Oh yeah. Out here, you're still in Utah, right?
Yes. Utah? Good old Utah. We just had our fake spring and now we're back to winter.
Isn't that so weird? Like Texas was freezing cold for like 3 days. I had to cover my plants up, and now I can wear shorts again. It's so weird weather. Texas, don't come
we
there.
We woke up to snow this morning. My daughter came running in. Mom, it snowed. It's all gone. It's
so cool.
It's melted.
So one cool thing about Utah is like no matter where you are, you're like behind or in front of a massive mountain range. Like
yes.
Every time I look at a picture of Utah, there's like a beautiful mountain in the background, and I'm so jealous of that because Texas is so flat.
It is. That was the first time I went to Texas. I was like, "Where's the mountains?" Like,
right? We have nothing. It's actually funny. Whenever I am driving and I notice like we're on a slight incline or decline, I'm like, April, oh my gosh, we're on a hill. It's so weird.
Is this what a mountain feels like?
Right. And it's annoying because it's always on a highway. So I'm like, wow, this would be great to build a house, but there's a highway, an 18-lane highway running through it. So
no.
Yeah, maybe not. Okay.
Yeah.
Jordan, what is your investment company? You have one, right?
Yeah. So I'm a managing partner of the Regal Fund.
The Regal Fund. How's that going? And who are your other partners?
Yeah, it's going great. My business partners are Jake Dean, Brandy McDaniel, and Jenny Oliveri. We partnered up. This has been probably 6 or 8 months now that we really started diving into our fund and, analyzing properties to bring into the fund.
Nice.
I came on solely for acquisitions, and it's been awesome.
Oh yeah. What markets are you guys looking in?
So we're looking in Missouri, Kansas City, for the most part, and then a little bit of St. Louis, depending on the market, because that can be definitely hit or miss.
So hit or miss in St. Louis. It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah, the first time going out there, I'm like driving. I'm like, "Ooh, this is not great," and then 2 seconds later, I'm like, "Wow, these are beautiful."
It's St. Louis is like half of it is beautiful and the other half is Detroit. It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah, so we're really focusing there. Kansas City is one of our main markets.
Nice.
One of my business partners is from Kansas City, so we've got some really great connections and resources there that have been super helpful. And then Arkansas, Southwest Arkansas is Southwest Arkansas. Yeah, Southwest Arkansas.
Is it like Bentonville? Is that Southwest Arkansas?
Yeah. No.
I don't know. Little Rock and Bentonville is all in. And I don't even know how I know Bentonville, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know. No, Fayetteville. We're kind of focusing in Fayetteville, which I think is Northwest Arkansas.
Northwest. Okay.
Oh my goodness. I need to get that down. But that's been a little bit of a newer one.
We went to school in America. Like like geography is not our expertise, right? Like that is not our fault. I do not fault you at all. Right?
No, and
Um,
you know what? I'm a great test taker, but a lot of it's from memory.
yeah, seriously, I can name
I
all.
memorize something and then it's gone.
Right, like you know what? I'm good. I know all the states on the West Coast, but on the East
Yeah,
Coast, don't please no, please no. Everything in the
please
middle,
no. Yeah.
no. Like Montana, where the heck is Montana?
It's just like the big one that's like this in the top. Oh wait, no,
Right,
that's
right.
Montana. I was
That's
like, no,
Montana.
that's Wyoming.
Okay.
Live
Right,
like
man.
right next to Wyoming and I don't know where it's at.
So our hotel conversion is actually in Overland Park. So it's Kansas City, MSA.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great market.
Overland Park is crazy. The
Hmm.
1 mile average income from our property is like $91,000.
Wow. Yeah,
Isn't that
that's a nice
crazy?
area.
Yeah. It's a hotel conversion. So, it
Yeah,
has
how's that doing?
it's it's going, right? We're actually raising right now a debt fund. Do need
Mm,
some mezz debt to get from point A to point B, or let's say point B to point C. So if anybody listening was looking to earn 12% on 50K or 14% on 750, reach out because we do have that option available. But it's a
nice.
hotel conversion, right? Like there's just so many things, so many boxes. And working with the city of Overland Park has been, I don't want to say a headache, but I don't have another word that's like slightly less than a headache. So I'm going to say it's been a
Yeah,
headache. Um,
yeah,
but
a nuisance. It's been a nuisance.
that's a good word. I love that. Ah, you
Just
are
it's
smart.
bothering you, but it's not like taking
Yeah,
up all your thoughts, all your bothersome. It's a nuisance.
it's a nuisance. I love that. I'm going to actually start using that more. My kids, nuisance. Just kidding. All right.
I love you, but nuisance.
Nuisance. Nuisance. Hashtag. Put it on a t-shirt. So, Jordan, all right. So when we were doing our one-on-one coaching calls, it was mostly around underwriting. I mean, man, we probably
Cool.
looked at how many deals together? A lot
A lot.
through it, but like talk through it, right? Because, I
You
feel
have
like
a deal you want me to look at, Trae?
honestly, I don't. I'm just, you know what? My hat right now, it says capital raising, no, investor relations, because underwriting is hard. I tell people all the time, right? Like I probably underwrote 150 to 200 deals, like no joke. And of those, how many penciled?
Right.
Maybe two, maybe.
Yeah.
And then we put in one LOI and we didn't get it. Right. So I didn't want to leave the
Yeah.
business, but I also want to like, all right, listen, I will underwrite the properties that I'm raising for just to make sure it's a great deal for my investors. But I just don't
Yeah.
want that to be my full-time job anymore. I'm not built for it.
I get it.
you
It's
know,
not for the faint of heart.
I'm decent, right? Probably the best underwriter that you've ever worked with from MFM, right? She's shaking her head
I
yes.
mean,
She agrees wholeheartedly. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's. You get the OM, you get the property packet, right? What is the
yeah.
easiest way to like analyze a property quickly, right? Like what metrics
Yeah.
are you looking at before diving into a full underwrite?
Great question. One of the first things I'm always going to look at is the cap rate. Um, I know the cap rate is a lot of the time it's like this figure that you never know what it really is, and but the cap rate in the sense of like what they're asking versus like where the property is currently performing, the NOI or net operating income. That's going to give me a good indication of really like where it's standing currently and
Currently,
where in the current market I'd be able to take it, because if I've got a super compressed cap rate, it's going to be really hard to get debt that's going to make sense. And that's really, as you probably know, one of our biggest you know obstacles that we're having to overcome, especially in this market and the market that we've been in for this last 12 months.
right?
So that's one of the first things I look at. And then we obviously are a value add. We're a value add investment firm, so we are focusing only on properties that we are able to go in, implement our systems and processes, put together a business plan where we can renovate units or update the exterior and really add value not only to the property, to our investors, to the community. That's really a big part of our mission. So we're looking at properties that maybe have some lower lower rents, not taken care of, deferred maintenance, things like that, that we can go in and really make it a better place
Right.
all around, and also provide a better return for our investors.
So the cap rate, that is the asking price. No, it is the NOI divided by the asking price.
Yes.
All right. Did I get that backwards?
No, backwards. It's the asking price divided by the NOI.
Asking price divided by NOI. Okay. And then that is,
No, goodness. Come
is
on.
it?
Now you're
Okay.
confusing me. No, it is the NOI divided by the asking price.
Whichever one of those combinations gives you the
One of
smallest
them.
number, right, is the one that you should probably use, right? If it's
Right.
like if it's like 20, you did it wrong. But if it's like
It's wrong.
point 0.00349, you're that's right, because it's going to be rendered as a percent. So and then depending on the market, we're going to be able to tell if it's high or if it's low. So if it's low, if it's compressed, you're going to you're probably just gonna are you gonna move on there? Or are there any other things that you're looking at after cap rate?
Yeah, I think at that point it does, do us a disservice to, pursue something like that they're over asking for the property, unless I've developed a relationship with a broker where they understand, that price might not be realistic in the market. We can have that
Right.
conversation, submit an offer where it really does make sense. And that serves two people really, and that's us and the broker. If the broker, sometimes they can have a hard time with the seller where they have unrealistic expectations. So submitting offers that are, realistic in the market can help the broker to see, show that seller that, hey, this is really where we should be seeing, our
Right.
prices coming in. And then that also just, puts a good name out there for us with that broker where, we've had that conversation. He or she understands, why we're coming in at that price and how we are doing our evaluation.
I love it. I love it. And there's a lot of that right now, right? Like sellers' expectations are still that of 2021, and we're in a completely
Right.
different market, right? So when do you think that's going to switch up, right? Like sellers are up here, buyers are down here. That's a pretty decent spread, right? Like
Right.
how does this stabilize?
Right. It really comes down to just like people making deals happen at realistic prices, because the more that happens, the more that we're going to have that data that shows this is what we should be at. The issue is a lot of the times when people are looking at comps and trying to pull sales comps and different values, a lot of that stuff is inflated still from those years where people were overpaying for properties. So it's going to take some time of stabilization before those numbers start catching up.
Right, right. Okay. So when you're underwriting, right, like there's so many different ways somebody can maneuver or tweak the numbers, right? So I'm
Right.
curious, right? Like what are the most common levers that somebody might maneuver to make their underwriting look better? Hey guys, my company, Paige Capital Group, is actively sourcing and buying multifamily deals. If you're looking to put your money to work, gain some tax efficiencies, and grow your portfolio while we do all the heavy lifting, go to pagecapitalgroup.com/invest. That's Paige, PAIGE, capitalgroup.com/invest, and someone from our team will reach out. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, good question. Obviously, the purchase price is going to be the number one thing. Like, we all want a good deal. We all want, a better price for the properties that we're looking at. But I think the biggest thing right now is debt. Honestly, there's so many ways to leverage debt to make a property work, and there are so many different resources out there to get a good debt quote, get good leverage on a property that is going to, allow you good cash flow as well as, overall return with that equity on the back end without having to pay, an astronomical loan off. So that's really where we've positioned ourselves is we've, made really great connections in the debt world. We've gotten some really competitive quotes recently that most people, haven't been able to get just, due to lack of relationships.
Oh yeah. Are you raising right now for a deal?
Yeah, can't
Oh, no way.
really talk about it yet.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Okay. All right. All right.
yeah, but we're always raising, with a fund. It's never ending, but yeah, we do have a deal in the pipeline. So,
Okay. So this is gonna post in about 4 days. Will it be ready in 4 days?
oof, possibly,
Okay.
possibly. We're working with attorneys, and
Okay.
they go as
Fair.
fast as they go. So,
Totally fair. So how about this? If it is ready by the time this episode posts, I will drop the information in the description. Right.
deal. Yes.
Fair. Fair. All right. Okay. So that is on the underwriting side. So how about when let's say I'm a passive investor and I'm coming across a deal and the numbers look too good to be true, right? So I want to take a look at the underwriting. What are the
Yeah.
the common things that an operator might do to make the numbers on the top end look better for the investors when actuality it's just a bad deal, right? What do they say? A pig in
Mm,
lipstick. Is that right?
yes. Yeah. For sure. Yes, a pig and lipstick. Um, in my experience, because as I'm also aside from a real estate investor and a coach, I'm a real estate consultant as well. So I do have passive investors bring deals to me pretty frequently for me to look at those things, and they're
Right.
often other people's deals. So I should do this whole post about these type of deals because I've seen a lot. But really what it comes down to, rent is a huge one. I can't tell you how many times I've seen someone, inflate the rent, you know, $4 a square foot. And I'm like, where are you getting this? They're like, well, that's what the numbers say. And it's like, what numbers? Like the numbers in the sky? Because that's where your rent's at. So yeah, rent increase is a huge one. Um, yeah, $4. Not, I'll tell
Like
you,
I'm doing the math
it's
in my head,
insane.
right? Like that is a lot.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of an extreme one, but I did see that once. The other thing is not accounting for CapEx. I can't tell you how many times
Mm,
people, have a CapEx budget of, $2,000 a unit. And, when I see something like that, my immediate thought is, what are you going to do? Paint it? Like that's about all you're going to get done with $2,000 a unit. Um, and that's, interior only, not exterior. So that's a
yeah.
huge thing, especially when you're looking at value add deals is, making sure that you've accounted for the needed capital because, oftentimes in those scenarios, you're going to end up having to raise more money. And those returns are going to, you know,
Yeah.
diminish pretty quickly.
Right. 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 Very interesting. One of the big levers that I see, right, like the rental growth, it's going to be
Mm,
really hard to project. Like some of these markets are going negative, right? So you're looking at
yeah.
year 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you're seeing 5% straight across, that's probably a red flag.
Yeah,
Just-
right. Yeah, there's definitely markets right now that are negative rent growth, and yeah, you don't want to project that those are going to jump up, to that 5% anytime soon. It's going to take a little bit before we get there again.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything in particular that investors should know about underwriting, or at least analyzing the numbers? Like one, didn't know you were a consultant. That's super dope. I'll also have to plug that in the description below.
Yeah.
But two, like, is there like something that every or most passive investors come to you with where it's like, I'm telling you this over and over and over again?
Yeah. Honestly, like, and this sounds silly, but the returns, like understanding how the returns are calculated, um, that's a big thing. Your cash on cash is very specific to the amount of money that you're putting in the deal. the, total return, what that all entails, which is, the total return is going to take into consideration not only your, cash flow throughout a deal, but also the equity on the back end.
Right.
So an overall, so sometimes people come in thinking that that's like in addition to their cash flow. So understanding, I think, just
Oh,
like your key metrics.
yeah. Just curious, it's investor sentiment, right? Like what type of returns are they looking for? IRR, are we looking at 13, 14, 15, 16%?
Yeah, I think it really depends on like your investment goals. I've talked to investors that are, looking at 13. Some investors are looking for 16. So I think it's a
Mm,
range of, kind of what it is that you're looking to get out of a passive investment.
right.
Different people have different goals, but that's pretty much where I've seen deals penciling
Yeah.
recently is that 13 to 16%.
Nice. I am right now, I'm trying to like identify all the different, not avatars, right? Because there's, infinite amount of avatars, right? But the
Right.
investor avatars, right? Like the type of investors there typically are, so I can put them in buckets because I feel like I can understand things in buckets so much better.
Right.
Um, it's
Yeah.
just, it's like I've, I get a lot of like flack for this, but I think the avatars are just a way, like as a capital raiser, you're talking to somebody. An avatar is just a way to like build rapport. But once you get past
Yeah.
that, right, like there's all these other investor types that this person is going to align to more than the others, right? So I'm not sure
Right.
why I said that,
Yeah, it's
but
it's understanding it, but no, it's a way to like get yourself in front of people too, is understanding like
mhm,
their what drives them or like what their yeah, I don't even know like what their um overall goal is, because there's, people that are
right,
looking for a quick buck. There's some people that, are in it for the long haul. They want to do this, they want an investment that is gonna, give them a lot of money 50 years down the road. Like there's people
right,
that, they don't care. They just want to put their money somewhere to, get the tax benefits. So yeah, there's
hmm hmm
there's different types of people that you talk to, and they all have, different things that they're looking for.
and it's like, yeah, it could change from one year to the next.
Yes, it
Right.
can.
It's super crazy. I was thinking about like my avatar, right? I'm a designer. I work in corporate America for a big bank that everybody knows the name of. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to target tech people. But then I took a step back and I'm like, well, why not like corporate people? And then I took a step further, like, well,
Mm,
everybody who has a job that's not like a doctor or a lawyer, right? Like we probably all have the same goals or similar goals. So then I
right.
was like, all right, well, then how do I speak to those goals by, are we doing value add, right? Like maybe a higher IRR, but a
Hmm.
little bit more risk? Are we doing uh, a, a B type asset, right? Where there's a lot more stability, but your returns are just a little bit less, right?
Right.
Um, Working on that now. So maybe I'll do an episode with, you know what? Come back in 6 months. We'll talk about this again and we'll both have it
Deal.
defined. All right.
I like it. Homework.
Yeah. You got a long time to finish it. So don't be late.
All right.
Uh,
I'll
all right.
procrastinate it till like five months and
Right. Like
28 days.
an hour before it's due. Just make it all up when you get here.
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
was the queen of that in school. I've gotten better.
I
It's,
believe it.
yeah,
You're good. You've got the gift of gab. So I can, if you say it, I believe it.
that's
Right.
funny. I that took a long time to actually develop that. I don't know. I
Really?
feel like we've talked about this. I was shy. Like growing
Really?
up, I would do like any, I guess like once I got to know someone, I could talk their head off, but I would never go out of my way to like introduce myself to someone I didn't know, or like go up to a group of people I didn't know. I hated calling people on the phone. I I really did not like that. And I remember, I think it was, oh, probably, I think I was probably like 20 years old. And I was like working at this job and just was like, I need to like meet people And I need to make connections. I heard your network is your net worth, and I was like, I don't have a great network. Like, everybody I knew at that time was like in the Marine Corps making not much money and things like that. So I was like, okay, well, I need to branch out. And I started telling myself, like, successful people talk to people. And I would tell myself that every day: successful people talk to people. And I started talking, and I was like, oh, this is not as bad. Okay, it's getting better. Like,
right.
people either like me or they don't like me, and I have no control over that. So I'm just
Right.
going to
So
be me.
why
And
stress over it, right?
right. Yeah.
So interesting. So I've never really been like shy. I'm an extroverted introvert, right? Like I have this cup, and once it runneth
Mm,
over, I'm done, right? Count me out. I gotta go. But sometimes that cup is big, and sometimes that cup isn't so big. It's a little shot glass.
yeah. It's a little
Um,
shotgun.
my issue though has always been that I'm a large human. You've met me. I'm not like average. I'm slightly above average size. I'm even bigger now. Boy, put on some weight. Good night. But my issue is I make myself small because I don't want to.
Mm,
I struggle. Something I still struggle with. I gotta get through it because nobody wants that big guy who's trying to make himself small.
yeah.
What is that, like a self assuredness? If we could increase that. So, I'll be doing push ups back there, trying to like work
Yeah. Getting pumped.
yeah, we got the Peloton that I haven't ridden in like 3 weeks, but it's okay. It's okay,
Oh, that's so funny.
We
You know
still
what's
got
funny is I noticed in pictures, like my younger self in pictures, because I'm tall too. I mean, I'm 5'9", that's tall for a girl. So I'd be in pictures with all my friends who are short, and I would like shrink down, like, to be their
right,
height. And I realized, like, as I got older, I'm like, why am I doing that? Like, it's
right,
just a picture, sure, but that's a representation of myself. Like, I need to be like, stand tall, be sure of myself. And so that's been something that, like, I've worked on as well, because just like even your posture is like, it's a
right.
representation of yourself. I mean, if I'm sitting here like this, like, you're gonna be like, okay, Jordan, like,
Yeah, let
but
me
if
let
you
me
sit
fix
up
my
a little
posture.
bit and
Yeah,
yeah.
it's and we're blessed because you're tall, I'm tall. Just got to take it. Take advantage. I don't even know if that's the right thing to say, but
Yeah.
anywho, um, what I want to do next, I kind of want to talk through a simple best case scenario underwriting from start to finish, right? So,
Yeah.
I'm the broker. Hey, Jordan, ring, ring. I got this great deal that I know you're gonna love. It fits your buy box, your criteria, everything. Here's the OM, here's the rent roll, and here's the T12. Let's talk tomorrow, right? You get that.
Yeah.
Where do you start?
Yeah, so the first thing that I do, honestly, I often don't even look at an OM until I have that conversation with the broker. I'm such a numbers person that, like, the OM, as bright and shiny as it is, it's like the last thing I look at. So typically what I'm going to look at is the T12 first, understand kind of where the property's been performing for the last 12 months. So I can kind of see what where there's any holes, or if there's anything that's just stands out. So that's kind of my first step. And then I've got an underwriting template that, is what I use. And so I'll plug the information in from the T12 to help me, just analyze where we're at.
Hold on, time out.
Specific markets.
Are you still using MFM's template?
Yes, I
And no.
do. Yeah. So yes and no. I have another template that I use as well. Um,
Okay.
it's not out to the public yet, but it may be by the time this episode drops. So
Okay. All
if it
right.
is, we'll put a link to. If not, then maybe we'll have to do
A follow up
another podcast where we
in
can
three
talk about
months.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, listen, just so you know,
um.
I'm not the public, so you can send it over. I'm just
All
kidding.
right. All
I'm
right.
just kidding.
I
All
think
right.
I have sent it to you, but who knows? It's
All
been
right,
in the
sorry.
works for a little bit.
That's exciting though. Is this your
Yeah.
underwriting template?
No, it's Zach's. He's
Okay.
I've helped develop it. I'm his like ultimate troubleshooter. So
Yeah. Yeah.
he's the mastermind behind it, and I'm the one that tells him whenever things are broken. I'm like, hey, wait, what? It's not doing this. Like I know
Yeah.
it should do this. So
That's so good. Okay. Sorry, interrupted. So we got the OM, we're putting that to the side. We're taking a look at the rent roll, the T12, look for anything that's a discrepancy, something that makes you say, oh,
yeah,
why is that number so big? And then I think this is where we were. So you've done that. Next we are
right. Yeah. So after that, obviously specific markets are going to have, specific ways of running certain properties. So we're very specific in our markets, and we've developed what I call our market rules of thumb outside of, just typical, multifamily rules of thumb or, where the property is performing now. And what I'll do is I'll project out, very simply what we can expect. Typically, we're going to be like expense ratio 45 to 55%.
Mhm.
That's pretty common in most markets that we're in. Um, once I do that, looking at the rent roll, just seeing I'm ultra conservative before, speaking to the broker in, what our rents can be. So I'm only looking at highest achieved rent versus like what the average rent is for that unit type. I'm not gonna, try and fluff things up at all. I just want to see, if I just run the property, at, you know, best case scenario as it is right now. This is kind of what we'd look at. Um,
Hold on real quick. I want to kind of expand on that real quick. So the high,
yeah.
so we have 10 one-bedroom apartments, and 9 of them are $900, but one is 1,000. When you're underwriting,
Mhm.
you're only pushing the rest of those 9 to the 1,000. Is that what I
Yeah.
heard? Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
exactly. For my initial underwriting, yes, because I want to remain as conservative as possible. I don't want to
Right,
put any, um, I always say like, don't get your emotions involved in that initial underwriting because
right.
I could make all the justifications as to, why I should raise those rents to actually $1,200. But before speaking to the broker, I'm not going to do any of that. I keep it really conservative. Um, just, what I know I can accomplish with this property.
Yeah,
Uh, so that's kind of how I run like a quick initial underwriting. I'm always going to account for, a decent capex. That's something, I mentioned previously that
right.
investors should look at. And, usually we're accounting for, I'd say 7,500 to 10,000 a unit, for just an initial underwriting to ensure that we can take care of the interior and the exterior of, any building that we're looking at.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Most of the buildings we're looking at are 80s builds, so they usually need a little bit of work, both in interior and exterior, and that's kind of where, with we've underwrote probably I should have looked before we hopped on here, but I think we're like up to like 150 deals in the last 6 months that we've underwritten.
Ooh, ooh.
So it's a lot, but
Yeah,
lots of data gathering. So that's kind of where we've come like, okay, this is a good spot to start. And
yeah.
obviously that number will go up and down with specific properties, but that's kind of where we start.
Nice. Okay. So, all right, we have the rent, right? So how are you, what's next? Um what are you doing next in the underwrite?
Yeah. So really it's just looking like projecting out what typical hold time for us is 5 years. So what the next 5 years looks like. What we can see as stabilization on our expenses, what our, growth on income will be. Just very simple numbers. I'm not going to go, too in detail at this point. And really that's, I mean, I might be missing something because I don't have an underwriting template in front of me, but
No worries, no
that's
worries.
like the gist of kind of what,
Right.
what an initial underwriting looks like.
Nice, nice, nice. So I'm assuming when you do that initial underwriting, the numbers don't come back too favorable because without those like
No.
pushing. So what is your baseline criteria? Like how do you know that the property deserves a full underwrite?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, Usually, so we're typically, if I'm looking at something, if it's within 2 to 5% of like my target metrics, which honestly, like in an initial underwriting, I get a good amount of deals to that point.
Yeah.
That's when we have that conversation with the broker, move forward with it. A lot of the brokers I work with too, like I've got a great relationship with them. So
Right.
we talk about pretty much every deal that they send over just to, help them on their end as well as help us on our end. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Nice little
that's
feedback
usually
loop.
how I determine moving forward. Yeah,
Love it.
feedback is so important in this industry.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Any road bumps? Um, I know it's gonna vary based on properties, but like just some like big things that you've noticed happen more often than others, right?
Right.
Anything
Do
there?
you mean like property specific or just specific to like the underwriting?
Just in the underwriting, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, I think the biggest hurdles that I think most investors are seeing right now are, some expenses that have, dramatically increased recently, such as insurance.
ooh, yeah.
Insurance is insane. We're working on, underwriting a property right now in the Kansas City metro, and insurance is going to increase like it was like 35% from what their policy was last year. And it's like, geez, like, all right. Like, and it's just insane. It's, the cost to the insurance agencies is going up. There's things that are
Right.
happening that are, increasing their risk. So obviously they're going to just give that risk right to us on the cost. Um,
It sucks too because like the insurance, the cost of money, everything is so high right now. So all these term loans coming due pretty soon. One, they can't really like how do you sell when the next buyer is, you know, everything costs 35% more. I'm trying to wrap my head around that and like figure out like what's next for multifamily. But I think a lot of people are
mm,
going to get hurt in these next 12, 18 months. There's going to be a lot of blood in the street. 'Cause
yeah.
that's
Um,
crazy.
It is crazy, and I feel like there's deals that are falling out now due to bridge loans that are coming due and unable to refinance. That's a huge thing. That's a big issue in the multifamily market right now, um, and that's something that obviously I take into consideration with every underwriting I do. So conservative approach is like my middle name. Call me Jordan Conservative Approach Hegemann because that's like I I will like I that's gonna be my new Instagram handle, guys.
You
Look
should.
me up.
It's
Just kidding. Too long.
real quick, guys. If you're enjoying the show and want to help us grow, share, shoot us a 5-star rating, and follow the show on Apple or Spotify. My goal is to continue to grow and get bigger and bigger guests on the show to reach more like-minded real estate investors and help everyone be more bold and build more wealth. Now, back to the show. So, Jordan, let's break out our crystal ball. Okay, you have it in front of you, and interest rates. Where are they going
Ooh,
to be at end of 2024?
right. That's a great question. So I'm not an economist in any way, but I tried and listened to a lot of them. Honestly, I see the Fed, dropping the rate a couple more times. Um, I came into multifamily at a really interesting time when, interest rates were very low. And I don't foresee them going as low as what we had, 2, 3 years ago. Um, yeah, about 2.5 years ago. There were rates as low as 2.9%. I don't foresee that happening again. Historically, the Fed fund rate has been roughly 4%. I foresee us kind of staying at that come the end of this year, first quarter of 2025. Um, Keep in mind that doesn't mean our interest rates will be 4%. We're probably going to stabilize right around 5 to 5.5% overall. I
Yeah,
think it will take a few quarters to get there, though.
right. I'm with you. It's SOFR plus whatever. Is that how they?
Yeah, there's so many different ways. So there's the Fed fund rate, there's the SOFR rate, the secure overnight financing
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
rate, and then there's the LIBOR. They don't use that anymore. It's
That
like the
one's been,
London International something, but yeah, they don't use that one anymore.
yeah.
So yeah, usually the Fed fund rate or the SOFR.
Yeah. Okay.
The Fed fund rate, you can get more like quicker data. Like they update it. I think it's like on a daily basis.
So I can't tell you which bank I work for, but yeah, they have the software to like pull all these numbers, and I know this because I worked on a project that actually
Ah,
shows what all the different types of rates are available, and it's kind
mm.
of crazy. It's I wish I could tell you what bank I work for, but I don't trust them. All right,
It's
all right.
crazy too. Like the world of like debt is so complex.
Isn't it
I
though? Isn't it?
Yeah, one of my favorite people to talk to is Colton Smith, who's like a senior director at Walker and Dunlap.
Yeah.
And oh, I like he can go down rabbit holes and I'm like, I can't follow. But
Oh,
I learn something new every time I talk to him.
he's definitely on the list of people I want to bring on the podcast. So, hook me up, introduce me. Actually, I
I
think
will.
I slid into his DMs before. He didn't
He's so cool.
respond.
He's so down to earth and just yeah, I'll start a group chat because I
Oh
think he
yeah.
should definitely be on.
That would be so
And
great.
he's
That'd be so
funny as
great.
hell. He's
I
funny.
did. I went to the call that he did with MFM not too long ago. He was pretty funny.
So funny.
Okay, so interest rates are going to drop slightly, but not to what they were in 2021. What about rent
Yeah,
growths?
20.
How we
Good
and
question.
and I know this is market specific, right? But
Yeah.
how about in your markets and then just overall nationwide, where do you see rent?
Yeah, great question. Overall nationwide, I see it stabilizing. I mean, historically, rent growth has been, 2.5 to 3.5% kind of over all markets on an annual basis. And so I foresee us, stabilizing at that eventually. Um, some of those markets that had some crazy increases, like Texas, I know they had some markets, where you were at, where they had double digit rent increases.
Right,
And that's, I foresee those taking a little bit more time to really stabilize at that, 2.5 to 3.5%, just because they've already seen so much growth. Um,
do you think they're
but
gonna like fall negative? Like Houston blew up, right? And that's Houston is like
Mhm.
the MSA where there's been so many foreclosures because it just wasn't
Right.
sustainable. The rent growth, people saw the 12% and were like, yeah, this is going to continue, even if they had it tapering off, and then it just fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah, I think last like report I saw Houston was like negative, barely negative, but overall Houston I did see that it was like negative 0.2% or something like that. And so I do
yeah,
foresee it, taking some time to get back up to just growth really at all.
right, right. Okay, so nationwide, you see it tapering off, and we're gonna land where we're increasing 2.5 to 3.5%.
Yeah, I think that, some markets, some of the markets that we're in currently, uh, they never saw huge rent increases, but they've really never seen crazy declines either. And those are the type of
Right,
markets that, they're really stable and they, you don't see these, crazy returns coming out of them, but you also don't see, deals foreclosing or deals, going south because
right.
overestimation there.
Stable Mabel over there in the
Stable
Midwest.
Mabel.
Right, with like Indianapolis, I hear is like the most stable market in the whole country. Um,
Right? If you
I
got an
don't
in there, let me know.
I don't. I don't. I just know that one fact, and I wasn't even sure it was right. So,
It is like, yeah, I would say it's like it's up there. It's one of the most stable markets. It's great, but
yeah,
it's hard to break into.
So for me, I think with rent growth, I think there's going to be a correction. I think rent is like so high right now. I mean, it just can't with, especially here in Dallas, right? We have so many
Hmm.
units coming online in the next 6, 12, 18 months that these crazy rental prices that, we have, I just don't think they'll hold. But to that point, there's also 300 people moving to Dallas every single day. Um,
Right.
so it's just like, wow, where are we gonna stop coming here? If you're thinking of moving to Dallas, don't. All right, I'm
Don't
tired.
do it.
I'm tired of you guys. California sends, some cool people, but also their worst drivers. Like seriously, we don't need
Oh.
that anymore. Gosh, everybody drives a Tesla, and I'm jealous because I want one. But that's another podcast
That's
episode in 4 months. Okay.
I that's crazy. I agree. Utah's, seen so much growth as well. Um, that yeah, I don't know that it's necessarily gonna correct. I don't know that that will ever be the way that it goes like drastically,
Right.
but we might see some 0% for an extended period of time.
It's gonna be very interesting to see how it shakes out for sure. I mean, the median income here is not a lot, so
Mm,
it's like 81,000. No, I guess it's okay. It's a decent amount
yeah,
actually, but that's not. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I love Dallas
yeah,
as a market though. If I could get some solid B class properties here, I'd be in heaven. I'd be in heaven. So,
yeah.
um, all right. Outside of underwriting, what else you working on with the fund?
Yeah. Our biggest thing right now is, we're trying to implement some better like systems and processes on the back end. Ensuring that our investors are going through, getting to know us getting to know them. Um, I guess like a path. So we're developing, kind of a path of progress for our investors.
Yeah,
When we meet someone new that's interested in, working with us, we going through, kind of set steps and, having a similar experience. That's
right.
one of our big projects that we're working on right now. It's fun, it's challenging, but it'll be
Right.
rewarding.
We should talk offline about that because with these go high levels, I've been trying to figure that out as well, right? Like, and just
Yeah,
automating as much as it is as I can because the goal is to get to me, Trae, to many as quickly as possible, as quickly as
yeah,
possible. So, I think a lot of us are in that like grind phase right now where we know a little bit from our course, but we are missing a lot of pieces and are figuring it
yes.
out as we go. So, yeah, we should definitely collab offline because I want to hear how Regal Fun. I love the name; it sounds so important, but how that's going.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, let's do it.
what does the next 6 to 12 months look like for you, for the Regal Fund, for your family, for everything?
Yeah, good question. Well, it just came to my realization actually this morning. I'm gonna have a kindergartner come August. So that's a little bit scary. She said to me, "Mom, when do I go to when do I go to high school?" And I said, long
Uh,
time." And she's like, "No, Mom, kindergarten." I was like, it's a little bit different than high school, but you go in April. And she said, "How far is that?" And I counted with her. I'm like, "It's like 6 months away." Oh my gosh. So it's going to be a little
yeah.
bit of a change. So family wise, preparing a 5-year-old for kindergarten.
Oh yeah.
Business wise, I am, diving in head first with the Regal Fund. As I mentioned, we've, underwritten about 150 deals over the past 6 months. I have no intention of slowing down, developing new relationships in, our markets on a daily basis. So our goal is to close 4 to 6 properties this year. We've got a
Ooh.
couple in the pipeline already that I kind of alluded to previously, and a couple other things, coming online here in the next little bit. So that's what our next, I'd say, yeah, 8 to 12 months looks like on that.
Yeah.
And then I'm really hoping to ramp up my consulting business as well. I love talking with, new and seasoned investors on, helping them achieve their investment goals, in real estate specifically, but I also love the business side of, small businesses. So
Yeah.
ramping that up as well.
What's it called? What's your consultant agency called?
It's super original. Hegemann Consulting.
Wait.
Hegemann.
That's original. Yeah. HC.
It's very
Baby.
original.
Do you have a website yet?
Oh, I don't. I don't have a website,
Uh,
but I
no.
need to go.
Are you kidding me? It did it again. What the frickin' frick?
We didn't say anything
I
about
know. Is it
she
my
who should not be
watch?
named.
We're gonna put this. Okay, could it? Okay, phones is like couldn't be the phones, right? But just in case,
You have 2 phones?
I'm a drug dealer. No, I'm just kidding.
Literally.
No, I meant to set up my. I got the new iPhone 15. I kept my 14 so I could get like a separate shot, but then I always forget to use it. So like I got this little guy here, and I want to put it over here so it like watches me, so that when I cut some of these into my own shorts. But I'm not there yet. I'm not super eloquent. I struggle with the questioning sometimes.
Is that the gimbal thing?
Yeah, this is
Brandy uses that too, right?
He has a cooler one. His has a camera on it. Mine needs the phone to go right there.
Oh, no, his doesn't have a camera on it.
Oh, well, his new one does. I guess.
Oh.
Yeah, but I like it because it gets really small, so I can.
Yeah, that's nice.
Like put it in my pocket or something. Take this piece comes off. So
yeah, that is nice. I need to get one of those.
Yeah, I saw your video that Brandy made you do. That's so good. He told me the story.
He literally made me do it.
I know. He told me the story. I like literally forced her into the car and we drove to the property or something like that. Yeah.
We get like halfway there and he's like, if you don't want to do this, it's okay. I'm like, we're halfway here.
Right? We just parked. What are you talking about? It's rush hour, bro. Like we might as well. Like
we're on our way.
Okay, Miss Jordan H. Angry H. What do you need?
Yeah, because I'm so angry.
It's not you, it's your name. It's not your fault, okay?
Oh, okay.
It's like Angry H. Hey. Yeah. So for anybody listening right now, how can they help you, right? Like, what do you need to reach your goals?
Great question. Well, I just mentioned one of my goals, and your face went. So our goal of closing 4 to 6 deals this year, obviously that's a big goal. We are always looking for new opportunities to partner with individuals in the multifamily space. So if you have deals that are, good deals, obviously, and I will underwrite them front and back and up and down to make sure that they are good deals. But we're all about partnerships. We want to, help others grow as well. So deals, send them on over. I'd love to take a look. And then, as far as like consulting, I just spread the word that, I'm awesome and let people know. Because it is, something that I haven't necessarily like put out there too much, but would love, some love on that side as well.
Oh yeah. Does your consulting agency have a slogan?
Oh, should we make one up right now?
Yeah, like work with Jordan so you don't be hoarding. It's terrible.
I was concerned where you're going with that.
Yeah, it's we'll workshop that after this. Okay. Yeah. Well, wrapping this up, Jordan. Where can the people find you? Where's the best way to get in contact?
Yeah. I am most active on Instagram. It's just at Jordan Hegemann. Try and make it as simple as possible there. And then our fund is theregalfund.com. So contact us through that as well.
That's such a strong name. And how do you spell Hegemann again?
It's Hegemann.
There we go. Perfect. Any last words? Any closing thoughts before we wrap this up?
Oh, 2024 is going to be a big year, and I'm excited for all the opportunities, all the challenges, all the opportunities to grow and learn, and I can't wait for the rest of 2024.
Oh yeah, love it. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. This is Jordan Hegemann. I'm Trae Jacobs. We'll see you next time. Peace.